left me dead inside. You gave me the truth, showed me you're the only one who satisfies. I never knew I could find peace until you found me, showed me who I could be. And now I know that this is the good life. Never look back when I traded for a day in my own life. Never look back 'cause I know that you are always with me. I got you, I know you got me. This is the good life. You gave me the good life. Yeah, you gave me the good life. You gave me something I could finally believe. You gave me something that was way beyond me. I'm finally living with the heart that is free. Out of the dark, right where you want me to be. And now I know that this is the good life. Never look back when I traded for a day in my own life. Never look back 'cause I know that you are always with me.
It's gonna just come out however it comes out.
You got me.
At this point,
This is the
I don't remember what it said.
you gave me the good life.
This is so annoying. We need to change that song.
This is the good life.
Man, typical. Good morning, Mountain View. If you're in that foyer, come on in, and we're ready to start the party. Get the party started. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're here to party with Jesus. For those of you that don't know, my name is Brenna, and I just want to give you all a warm welcome on behalf of our Sunday planning team. We are so glad each and every one of you is here with us today. And so I just want to start off our time by reading Psalm 139, 13 to 14. Look at, I didn't write it down, so I'm trying to remember. It says this: "For you formed my inward parts, you knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully, wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works." And so this morning, whatever you came in with, know you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And whatever you came in with, you can lay aside in this moment, so that way we can just have a moment where we get to praise our wonderful, miraculous, amazing God. And so will you stand as we just start this time of worship?
I call you maker. You give life an eternal spark. I call you healer. You can mend any broken heart. I call you faithful Father. 'Cause you finished everything you start. My soul was made to respond. I know you by 1,000 names, and you deserve every single one. You've given me a million ways to be amazed at what you've done, and I am lost in wonder at all you do. I know you by 1,000 names, and I'll sing them back to you, yeah. you by 1,000 names, and I'll sing them back to you, yeah.
We get to declare all these names of the Lord together. We'll start with Rock of Ages. 'Cause you are Rock of Ages, you're the great I am. You are King forever, the beginning and the end. You are Lord and servant, you're the Son of Man. You're the Lion of Judah, you're the risen Lamb. Come on. You're the second Adam, here to lead us home. You are Yahweh's glory, now revealed in flesh and bone. You are ocean parter, you will make a way. You are death defeater, you have risen from the grave. And you are full of mercy, you are rich in love. You are Jesus, Messiah, the one true God. I know you by 1,000 names, and you deserve every single one. You've given me a million ways to be amazed at what you've done, and I am lost in wonder at all you do. I know you by 1,000 names, and I'll sing them back to you, yeah. Back to you. Who am I that the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free as he has ransomed me, his grace runs deep. Slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed.
Very good. Man, good to hear you sing that this morning. I'm so glad that you're willing to proclaim that. Man, it's good to be here together in the room and online. So glad to share the morning with you all. I am going to date myself here. So I'm going to say a phrase. You tell me what you connect with it. Are you all right? Okay, here we go. The Great Pumpkin. Hey, very good. You all are old. Excellent. No, hey, here we are, October, which means that Halloween's right around the corner, and I'm happy to be able to announce that we have an opportunity for you. We have been for a number of years inviting the community to come on Halloween night and do what we call trunk or treat if you're new to us. Simply trunk or treat is we line up about 30 cars and open up our trunks and we decorate them, and kids come from the neighborhood in droves. It's the fastest hour and a half you'll ever have in your life. But man, I would love it if you would partner with us on the 31st, and if you would be willing either to bring some candy between now and then, or if you would be willing to decorate a trunk and to hand out candy to kids in the neighborhood as they come. Man, we just love to be able to invite the neighborhood onto our campus and just be kind neighbors. And to welcome them and for them to have a positive experience on our campus that night. So grab the QR code. You can go to the website and click and help us either bring some candy or even maybe bring some candy and do a trunk that night. That would be great. If you're new to us and you're in the room, there are some cards in front of you. The shortest card is a story and prayer card where you can share with us about what God's doing in your life or how we might be praying for God to move in your life. The second one's a giving card if you came to do that. That can help you to do that. And then both of those can go in black boxes on the posts on your way out. There's also a tall red card. I would love for you to fill that out. And I will be at the Next Steps table. I would like to say hello, tell you a little bit about Mountain View before you get out of here today. All of that stuff can be found on our website for those of you who are online with us. Thanks.
If you have raced with men on foot and they wearied you, how will you race against horses?
God doesn't call us to comfort. He calls us to courage, to live boldly, to be shaped and formed for a greater purpose.
God appoints us. He sends us. Even in exile, we can grow. God's purpose is bigger than our circumstances.
The question is,
Will you run with the horses?
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. You guys are quiet. This is crazy. Scary. Hey, I'll just try to update all of you, maybe each week a little snippet. I don't have a huge update on our son, but Tucker, but he is in rehab, and the way I've described it is, yeah. It's kind of fire hose to the face this week, and so we put all the water in a big pool, and now we're trying to drink it through a straw to make sense of all of the stuff that's about to come and be, and so really appreciate the prayers and all of that good stuff. And so when there's something tangible to share with you, I will absolutely be willing to give you that update, and we'll celebrate together. Sound all right? So, cool. Otherwise, hi, my name's Tom. Appreciate that. What I want you to do on the count of 3 is I want you to tell me your name, and I want you to do it audibly so that you can hear yourself say your name. Does that make sense? Like, this is very simple, but I also know how you all don't follow rules all the time, all right? I've tried to lead us for 12 years. You know, it's sometimes like nailing Jell-O to the wall, all right? So, you got it? I'm Tom. What's your name? 1, 2, see? I even said I'm going to count to 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Man, so nice to meet you. Have you ever noticed the more we grow, the less we actually become? What do I mean by that? Do you remember being a kid? Do you remember dreaming about what you were going to grow up and do and accomplish, and like the sky was the limits, and you had all these incredible dreams that then all of a sudden we grow up? How many of us actually did the things we dreamed about doing as a kid? A few of us. How many of us are not doing the things we dreamed about doing when we were kids? Exactly, right? And so occasionally, we do grow up and we become more than we ever imagined. But for most of us, we grow, as we grow, the less we actually become. But most of the time, we settle into life just like everyone else, don't we? I remember getting married, and we got married, and life was exciting, and everybody says, well, now you got to get the house, and after you get the house, what do they tell you? Got to have kids. Like everybody else. Everybody else. Like that's the path to life. That's what we do. We're in this study, week 2 of Jeremiah, and Jeremiah was someone who didn't slide into the ordinary, dull life. Jeremiah lived about 60 years, and he rose to challenges. He took the invitation to be pushed. He pushed the boundaries, and he wasn't afraid to journey into new places. And so, I think there's some things we can learn from Jeremiah. And what we can learn from Jeremiah is let's not just settle our lives for something less. Does that make sense? And the whole reason that I had you say your name is because Jeremiah's book starts out very personal. If you turn to chapter 1 of Jeremiah, it'll be on the screens also. Verse 1, it says this. It says, the words of Jeremiah. There it is. What's the fourth word here? Jeremiah. A name. And then we get some more names. The son of Hilkiah, one of the priests who were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. It also came in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, and until the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, in the captivity of Jerusalem in the 5th month. Whew. Right? And so there's a lot of names here. But right out of the gate, the fourth word in the book of Jeremiah is the name Jeremiah, meaning this is personal. It gets personal. It's more personal. There's some other names. You have Hilkiah, you have Benjamin, you have Josiah, you have Ammon and Judah and Jehoiakim and Zedekiah, because names are important. Names are really important, and the first words of the book of Jeremiah remind us what it means to be human. In our culture, in our society, we can forget because we lean into stereotypes. But what names do, names remove stereotypes. Names help us stand out in the crowds. We are named, and our name is how we are recognized. We are not named like animals in classes or labeled and assessed. We are not a chemical component or some sort of asset. Names are more important than things of the economy, and names are more important than what's happening in our city. They're more important than anything else that's happening around us. And Jeremiah opens up this book with 8 names. And of course, our focus is going to be on Jeremiah. Jeremiah did what every human starts doing, and that's being human. Just being human. And some say, actually, if you were to look up the meaning of Jeremiah, some say the word means the Lord exalts, while others argue that it means the Lord hurls. Now, I would want my name to mean the Lord exalts and not hurls, but if you read through the book of Jeremiah, you're going to find that sometimes it felt like the Lord was hurling Jeremiah, and sometimes it felt like the Lord was exalting Jeremiah. Either way, Jeremiah's name, his parents named him hoping that he would be used by God. And so I believe as we're going to discuss here in a few minutes, that every child is more than just a child. I believe we are created with purpose, and I believe that God designed us with passion and intentionality. He is Creator God, and I believe that God creates every single one of us to do something beyond the ordinary, but to do something extraordinary. And all of us are more than the DNA that our parents gave to us. Our job titles, Our family roles and assignments, our job descriptions, our number, or whatever role we might fill is not as important as our name. Hi, I'm Tom. What's your name? Yeah. And so we're told Jeremiah's name. We're told Jeremiah, his father's name and his father's role and the place of birth. And I don't know about you, but and on the Strength Finder, I rate high in relator. I'm always looking for what the common denominator is. What do we have in common? Because I think we're far more alike than we are different, right? And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, I want to know more about Jeremiah. I want to know more, but what we get is his name. Because names are important. And I love how Jeremiah begins because we're told what God is up to. So we get who Jeremiah is, and then we're told what God is doing. And this is what it says in verse 4 of chapter 1. It says, now the word of the Lord came to me. Jeremiah is writing this, and he said this, that God said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. And this is so important because what we know is before Jeremiah knew God, God knew Jeremiah. Like that's what we know, and this is so significant for all of us, especially for those of us who have been spending time in our life to try to figure out who God is. And I know I'm in a room with people because I know you and I have a relationship with you. Some of you are still trying to figure God out. This is what I want you to know. While you're trying to figure God out, God's already got you figured out. Like he just does. Before we ever started trying to make sense of who God is and what God is and how God makes sense to us, before we knew anything, we were already known. And this gives me, at least, incredible comfort. Because when we are faced with the invitation and the challenge to run with the horses, like we talked about last week, I don't have to be overwhelmed, and I don't have to be stressed, and I don't have to be afraid or anxious. I get to be in a relationship with a God who already knows me before I knew anything about me. I get to be in a relationship with a God who knew me before my mother even knew I existed. Like that's the reality, and I get to be in relationship with this God who's already got me figured out. And for some of us, that's scary, right? Oh no. But you see, this is where we get it backwards sometimes. We're born into a world, and we're born into this world, and we're trying to navigate this world. We're trying to make sense of the world. We're trying to figure things out in life. We're trying to constantly, continually figure out what's next for us, and not only what's next, but then how do I get there? And we're trying to figure out how to make the most of our lives. And then what happens in this life is we get sidetracked or setback, right? How many of you ever had some sidetracks or some setbacks in the life you're trying to live, right? And so what we need to do, and what we need to recognize, and I think this will help us run with the horses, is that we need to know that we enter into a world, and we enter into a world that we actually didn't create. And this is really important, because we are brought into this world, and it's already complex, and it's already set for us. And this is what I'm trying to say. Let me say it this way. There's a story, and there's a story being written. And the story was being written before you existed, and it's going to be written after you existed. And the big problem is we come into this complex world, and we're trying to make sense of the complex world that's already been set for us, and we're trying to write a story about our lives. But the reality is we get to participate, and we play a subplot in a bigger story that's actually not our story. And so when we enter into the world trying to figure out how I can make the most of it, instead of recognizing that I've been created and molded and shaped and prepared for the story that's already being written, you can see where we get a little sidetracked, do we not? Like, this isn't my story. This is God's story, and I get to play a part in God's story. And when we get this, then all of a sudden we can recognize how God made not just Jeremiah, but all of a sudden I can see how God made me. And you begin to see how God made you. And we are formed in the womb with purpose and passion and intentionality and designed. And he knows your name. He knows who you are. You're not just nobody to him. This is why we have a lump of clay up here. Right? Because in a lot of ways, I'm just a lump of clay and you're a lump of clay, and I'm just trying to talk to a bunch of lump of clays, right? All being shaped and molded by God to do our part. But we have to recognize that you were made, you were formed with purpose and passion, intentionality. And if all of this is true, and I believe it is, then I think there's a couple of really important lessons for us. God reminds Jeremiah, you're not an accident. And I don't for a moment believe any of us are an accident, and there's purpose in this life, and the same is true for me, and it's the same for you. And so we're going to look at verse 5 again. We're going to break it down into 3 parts. Does that make sense? So let's look at verse 5 again. This is what God tells Jeremiah. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. In other words, God knew you before you knew you. God knew you before we knew ourselves. What an amazing truth. Even before Jeremiah took a breath, even before his mother knew that he was going to be conceived, God declares, I knew you. And God formed Jeremiah. God made Jeremiah. God shaped Jeremiah and molded him and formed him. This is what I need us to know. The clay can't just become something on its own. The clay becomes something when the potter gets the hands around the clay and begins to shape it and form it and mold it. And what God was reminding Jeremiah is that he was the one who was doing the shaping. He's the one doing the forming. He's the one making Jeremiah into something. Does that make sense? And so some people actually, because I had the conversation this week, are like, whoa. This is specific to Jeremiah. This isn't a truth for all of us. And my answer is, all right, sorry if I spit on you, Marty. But seriously, this is a truth that I think I'm going to be able to show you, that it exists from the beginning of time to now, that is for each and every one of us, not just Jeremiah. For example, go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. This it's not going to be up on the screens, all right? But we get the beautiful poetry. Moses writes this beautiful poem about how he imagines God created the heavens and the earth and everything on the earth, right? Now, mind you, Moses wasn't there. He's writing about this, and he's saying, this is what I imagine. This is what I see the power of God being like. And if you were to read in verse 3, God said, let there be light. So he spoke light into existence, right? If you go down to verse 6, let there be the expanse in the waters. If you go down to verse 9, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together and create land. And then let the earth sprout vegetation. And so what you get is you get this beautiful picture in creation where God was speaking these things into existence. But then when you get down further in chapter 1, where God creates human, he gathers dust from the earth. And I imagine he spit. I don't know. It sounds good. And he formed, he created, he shaped humanity in the image of God. And so every other thing that God created, according to Moses in chapter 1, he spoke into existence. But the one piece of his creation that he formed and shaped and molded out of nothing was humanity. And so what God says to Jeremiah is absolutely true for you and me too. Does that make sense? And if that's not enough argument, then let's look at the psalm that Brenna read at the very beginning, where David says, you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. He says, I praise you. I am fearfully and I am wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it all very well. My frame was not hidden from you. When I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, and yet none of them have been after. Wow! Like, do you see this? You are not random. We are not an accident. The God who created everything made me, molded me, knitted me, shaped me, and formed me. And guess what? It wasn't just me. He did it for you too. He made you and he molded you. He knitted you. He shaped you and he formed you. And then after he did that, he breathed his life into us and gave us breath. This is a truth that if I had some supernatural power, I would impart into every single human I encounter. Because the biggest challenges that we face in life is when we don't believe that reality. I've been in ministry long enough to see that our loneliness that's caused because of our worthlessness, because of our self-doubt, which is ultimately because of our self-worth, I've watched it. I've watched it lead to mass addiction problems and self-harm and ultimately suicide. And I want all of us to know that the one who formed us loves us and he gives us purpose. And if I could convince every single person to believe this reality, man, our world would be so different, wouldn't it? And so listen. You matter. Not only do you matter, but you are a masterpiece and you are priceless. And God knows you. He probably knows you better than you know you or anybody else knows you. And while you're trying to figure out God, I just want you to know he's already got you figured out. Deal? That's number one. Got two more in you? No, I like that. Too bad. Here we go. Right? Number two is this, right? He formed us, but before we were born, he consecrated us. That's what he tells Jeremiah. Before you were born, I consecrated you. The word consecrated simply means to be set apart. That's what the word means. It's a beautiful and it's a personal word in the Bible, that meaning that God has something special for you, that you've been dedicated for a godly purpose. It means that God has prepared in advance for you something that he's set aside, a holy plan for this person. In other words, for each and every one of us. And so before Jeremiah even breathed life, God had plans for him. God had plans for him. He wasn't going to be just like everyone else. God had a mission, a specific mission for him to accomplish. And I think if that's true for Jeremiah, and it was true for David, it was true for Adam, and all of God's humanity, it's true for every single one of us. When we declare Jesus King of our life, I think that we will realize exactly what we were prepared for, what we had for us. Eugene Peterson says it this way. He says, before I was good for anything, God decided I was good for what he was doing. And I love that phrase. And I said this a few weeks ago when we did our series on Belong, Grow, Serve. I tried to explain to you that there's a battle going on. And it's a serious battle, and God is fighting to rescue, and God is fighting to save, right? How do I know this? I read Ephesians chapter 6. It says, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against the rulers and against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over the present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil that exist in the heavenly places. Like Paul tells us this. He says this is what's going on. And in the midst of this battle, what I think God is doing is God is blessing, and God is providing, and God is healing, and God is awakening. And there's this all-out fight going on, and God is giving us life and love and hope and heaven, trying to create heaven as much on earth as we possibly can. And every one of us who was formed in the womb, which by the way is all of us, We've been set aside and prepared for this battle. And you can go back and listen. I don't self-promote our sermon series, but go back and listen to our Ephesians series from May of 2024, and we talk all about it for like 8 weeks. Because in chapter 2 of Ephesians, Paul says, in the same book that he's explaining this battle, he says this: we are God's workmanship. We are his masterpiece. We've been created in Christ Jesus for this battle to do what? Good. To do good, which God prepared when? Beforehand. So that we can just walk in them. And so this is what I know. In life, we will either choose the life we were consecrated for, or we will renounce it. We will defect from it. We will deny it. And so I just want to really simplify this for us. Can I do that? If you were to read through the book of Revelation, which is the last book of the Bible, all right, I'm going to save you some time. You don't even have to read it today. But if you were to read it, I want to summarize it in the simplest terms. You ready? There's this battle going on, and God wins. Like, that's the story. We could sit and talk about how he wins over a cup of coffee all day long, right? We could argue about it, we could debate about it, we could rock, paper, scissor it, right? But this is what I'm telling you. If you were to read the book of Revelation, what you're going to find is at the end, God is going to win. He's going to win. And so the question is this, and I'm really trying, I don't want to insult your intelligence, and I'm trying not to, so please don't hear me that way. The only question for us is, what side of the battle are you going to be on? Like if you knew that raffle ticket was going to win you that car, would you do it? Yes. Or that lottery ticket or whatever else we do, right? If you, like, this is the one team you can bet on and guarantee a win. What side are you going to be on? And this is the deal. God doesn't wait. God doesn't wait for us to figure out what side we're going to be on. Before we were born, God formed us. He shaped us. He molded us to be on the winning team, on the winning side. And the question is, will you be consecrated to that, or will you denounce that? None of us are just ordinary, unimportant humans. Our life, it has purpose. Our stories have meaning. God has determined that each one of us has a special set-apart task, good to do in this fight. And we don't have to be perfect to have it all figured out, because God already has. Does that make sense? All right, last one. God tells Jeremiah, I appointed you. I appointed you. Jeremiah's appointment was clear. All of our appointments might be different, but Jeremiah's was clear. And Jeremiah's appointment was that he was going to be God's spokesman to these kings and to these nations. But I want you to see, this is what I want you to see, how human Jeremiah was. Because Jeremiah in chapter 6, after God says, I shaped you, I molded you, I've prepared you, I've set you apart, this is what Jeremiah says. Oh, Lord God, behold, I don't know how to speak. I'm just a youth. And so right out of the gate, Jeremiah feels inadequate, and he starts with a list of excuses. I'm too young. I don't have any experience. I don't know what to say. I've got too much baggage. Nobody's going to listen to me. I'm just not the right guy. Man, the enemy loves that. 12 years ago, I became the lead pastor, and I started preaching every weekend. And I had these moments where I know the enemy was like, who do you think you are? Right? I've told you over and over and over, my life shouldn't be here. Every day I thank God for the way He changed the trajectory of my life. Growing up in a home where alcohol and drugs ran rampant and abuse was a real thing. I mean, I should be living in the oil fields of Wyoming right now. But somewhere along the road, God grabbed my heart. And he took a lot of upside down things and he made things right. But the enemy loves to say, who do you think you are? You're too old. You're too young. You don't have the right things to say. You don't know how to say them right, wrong. Like, you're going to make a fool of yourself. Nobody's going to listen to you anyway. Right? I know it. I know it. I've watched it. I see Pastor Craig walk up to somebody and say, hey, I think you should launch a group. I don't know how to do that. Right? Matthew comes to me, hey, we got a funeral in the community. We got to do the funeral. And finally, I said, Matt, you can do funerals. You've watched me do 25 of them. Why don't you do it? Guess who does funerals now? Matt and Wayne. And they're good at it too. Right? Like, we just immediately have the excuse, don't we? And I watch it. Pastor Craig says, hey, why don't you launch a group? I don't have time. I don't have whatever, right? I watch it with Jay and Lisa. You know, they're like, hey, why don't you join our kids team? And I hear more people are on parole than I even understood, right? Like, that's your excuse to Lisa. Oh, my parole officer won't let me. I'm like, we got a church full of people on parole. I don't know how to work with kids. Oh, kids won't like me. I promise you, you show up into the kids' room, they're going to like you. They just do. But this is what I know. If you've got a list of excuses, you're in good company with Jeremiah. The feelings are normal. Jeremiah, God's chosen prophet, had some of the same concerns that we have. But I want you to look how God responds. In verse 7, he says this, but the Lord said to me, hey, don't you dare say I'm only a youth. For to all to whom I send you, you shall go, and whatever I command you, you shall speak. Don't you be afraid of them. I am with you to deliver you, declares the Lord. So let me tell you the not-so-secret secret. God doesn't invite the qualified people. He doesn't. God, what he does is he qualifies those who are invited. And so if you're formed and shaped in your mother's womb, prepared in advance for you some things that he's consecrated you for, then don't you think you're unqualified to do those things? Absolutely. But guess what? If you will accept the invitation, he is going to qualify you. And we're going to see Jeremiah didn't have it all figured out. Jeremiah didn't have all the answers. Jeremiah didn't have the confidence. But God was going to help Jeremiah. He was going to equip Jeremiah. He was going to guide Jeremiah. And he was going to help Jeremiah along the way. Why? Because God was with him. You read the Great Commission in Matthew 28. Go make disciples of all nations, baptizing them, teaching them. And Jesus says, I will be with you always. In the middle of the Gospel of John, he talks about this helper who's going to come. The power of the Holy Spirit is going to fill us. Who's going to guide us? Who's going to equip us? Who's going to qualify us? Who's going to help us? If you're breathing, and I'm assuming if you're in the room you are, otherwise our medical team needs to rush to you right away. God has something for you. Will you join him in the battle and fight with the winning team, or will you not? We might feel unqualified. And certainly we find ourselves in situations often that we don't know for sure what we're supposed to do, but we know we're supposed to do something, and that something is going to stretch us. And all I can sometimes muster up are some excuses, but Jeremiah reminds us that all we have to do is step into it, and God will equip us, and he will guide us, and he will empower us, and he will help us as we go. And so we might feel unqualified, we might feel small, we might feel scared, but God promises Jeremiah, I am with you, the God who formed us, the God who shaped us, the God who consecrates us, and the God who appoints us says, I am with you along the way. God is a giving God, and he is a generous God, and he is a God who doesn't wait for us to get it all put together, because God is always giving himself away to us. God is personal, and he is alive, and he is working in us, and he is working around us. And what's happening in the world right now around us in this very moment in history matters. And no more or no less than any other time in history, but it matters because you are here, formed by God, appointed by God, consecrated for God at this very moment to do good. We cannot be humans' best without God. We can't. Our relationship with God isn't something we add to so that we can complete or make our existence whole. That's not the point. It is the core of our existence. And I just believe we have to be present. And it's in the present that God meets us and reminds us we have a name. Hi, my name is Tom. What's your name? Yeah, you matter to God. You are made in his image, formed like a lump of clay, with purpose and passion and intentionality. And you have a name, and you are formed, and he has a task for you. So, will you accept the invitation? And so this is what I know. I know as I talk, there are some people here in the room, and you feel really inadequate. You feel worthless. You feel unworthy. You feel all sorts of feelings, don't you? And those feelings have wreaked havoc in your life. They've done crazy things to you, right? You feel unseen. You feel like nobody cares. We're going to pause in a few moments, and I'm asking God, I've been asking God all morning that he would just show up and remind you that you have a name, that he made you, that he formed you, that he loves you, that he adores you, that he actually sees you as a masterpiece, and that regardless of what the people around you in your world have said about you or to you, man, they're all lies. And God absolutely adores you. Maybe you're in the room and you feel like God's asking you to do something, but you don't feel qualified. You feel unqualified. You feel like you just can't even do it. And I just want you to remember that God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And if you'll accept that invitation, he will qualify you. And I just am asking God that he will show up and he will remind you that he is with you, that he will equip you, and he will be with you every step, whether it's big or small, that he will journey with you. And I'm also praying for the people in the room who are still trying to figure God out. Because I know who some of you are, right? We've talked. And you're trying to figure out who God is and what God's all about and whether God's real or not real. And some of it is you're trying to unlearn a whole lot of stuff because you grew up and God's a very confusing thing to you. And I'm just praying like crazy that maybe you'll have that little spark in your heart, because that's what it is, that's reminding you that you're not an accident, that you're here on purpose, that he has something for you. And so I know it could be awkward for some, but I just want us to be quiet for a few moments. And I'm asking God that if you're feeling real worthless, that he reminds you how special you are. If you're feeling unqualified, he reminds you that he will qualify you. And if you're trying to figure out who God is, man, he's already got you figured out. So he's showing up the way you need him to. So take a few moments. You can close your eyes, bow your head. You could stare at the sky or stare at me if you want. But just take a few moments. Let me help you just a little bit. Maybe you could right now just say, God, I want to hear you say my name. Maybe you're in the room or you're online with us right now and you just feel like nobody cares about you, that you're unseen, you're unwanted, and that you're worthless. Would you just ask God, God, would you remind me today of a different truth? The truth that I'm made and I'm shaped and I'm molded and I'm formed, and that you don't make junky art. Let God remind you that you are his masterpiece. And maybe you have a sense that God's asking you to do something, or maybe you have a sense that God has put you in the middle of a major circumstance or situation and you are in over your head. Would you let God remind you that he is writing his story and that you get to be a part of his story on the winning team? Would you let God remind you that you have purpose and that he's going to help you and he'll be with you as you journey through all of this? And maybe you're with us today and you've been trying to figure God out. You've been trying to make sense of who God is. Maybe for the first time today, you could acknowledge he's already got you figured out. God, I'm grateful for you, and I'm thankful for these truths, that none of us are an accident, none of us are random. We're not just some number or some stereotype, but you have made us with purpose and passion and intentionality. You formed us, you've shaped us. You've invited us to participate on the winning team. And you've appointed us for a task to make the world a better place. And so God, would you help us just take all of that in? God, through the power of your Holy Spirit, would you let the words I've spoken right into our hearts, and might we believe them? God, we give you the credit, give you the glory, give you the honor, and we just say thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Here's what's crazy about faith. Not only are we like a lump of clay that God has shaped and molded and formed into something beautiful. And by the way, if the artist makes something, let's say it's a beautiful vase, who does the vase belong to? The artist. The potter, right? But here's what's crazy, because God said, I'm going to let you choose whether you're going to be consecrated or not. He not only made us and already owns us in a sense, he bought us. He paid a price for us. He paid the price for us, something he already possessed, something he already created, something that he already made. And so every week at Mountain View, we participate in this moment we call communion. And today is an opportunity for you to remember that he died for you at the cost of his own son. That if forming you and making you and creating you into a masterpiece wasn't enough for us to belong to him, he said, I will pay a significant price, the price of my one and only son, to die on the cross for you so that you might choose me as your chosen God. And some of us, we might doubt the shaping and the molding, but we add another layer to it. He died. He sent his one and only son to die for you because he thinks you are absolutely worth it. And if it was just you, he would do it all over again and again and again because he adores you and he's that crazy about you. So when you eat the bread, his body's been broken for you. When you drink the juice, his blood has been poured out for you. The price he paid to say, follow me. So there's a table back here, one over here, and one up in the balcony. I just want to give you a few moments. Eat the bread, drink the juice. Remember, you're free to go.
You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God.
Sing it out, and I'm no longer.
And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And in my mother's womb, you formed me with your hands, known and loved by you. Before I took a breath, and when I doubted, Lord, remind me I'm wonderfully made. 'Cause you're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. 'Cause you make all things work together for my future and for my good. And you make all things work together for your glory, for your name.
Let's sing it out. There's a healing light just beyond the clouds.
And there's a healing light just beyond the clouds. And though I walk through fire, oh, I see clearly now. And I know nothing has been wasted, no failure or mistake. 'Cause you're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. And you make all things work together the canvas and the clay. And I know nothing has been wasted, no failure or mistake. 'Cause you're an artist and a potter, I'm the canvas and the clay. And you make all things work together for my future and for my good. You make all things work together for your glory and for your name. For your name.
So I hope you can hear after today that God has made you unique. Each individual one of us is just made uniquely, and it's really cool. I'm like, I don't know if you've ever like touched clay, but when it dries out and you don't do things like properly, and it starts to like dry, it's crazy what happens. It just cracks. And so God has like made you so unique that he even knew exactly how to make sure that you didn't crack. So he knows your story. He knows where you're going, what you're going through, and he is with you in every step of the way. And I promise you that he's not going to leave you to just dry out. He is with you. And so wherever you are at today, just be reminded that you are wonderfully made by him, and we just serve an awesome God. And so just take some time and just sit in the moment and know that he is an artist and you are his masterpiece. And it's so cool. It's so cool to know that we are his masterpiece. Have you sat in that? Just think about it for a second. You are a masterpiece. And so if you don't know who Jesus is, you haven't taken a next steps, you're still just kind of wrestling, I want to take a next step. Maybe that's through baptism, maybe that's through a conversation, maybe that's just getting in a group. We have these connect cards. And so that is just one way for you to get connected and take your next steps. And so wherever you are at today, I just encourage you, whether that be in prayer with Jesus or through our Connect card, take a next steps with us today. And you can do that by filling this out and taking it to Pastor Craig in the foyer at the next steps. If you're new, I also just encourage you, fill it out. We just want to say hello. Just a nice warm welcome from us here at Mountain View. And so, yeah, just fill that out and take it out to Pastor Craig. And then we started our reading plan, and if you weren't here last week, no biggie. And so we're gonna work through the book of Jeremiah. And so there is reading plans that we have made for you that they're printed and they're ready for you and they're out there in the foyer. So you can pick one of those up. Also, there's a QR code. You can scan that, or it's on our website. We've made it real easy. And so I just want to encourage you, journey on this idea of running with horses. We want to run with horses, and we want to know more about this story of Jeremiah and how did he do that? And so we've made it through week 1. There's no right time to start except for right now. So start with us, and then there's this great resource. It's called the Bible Project. And so if you haven't heard of it, go ahead and on the website, there's a link to the Bible Project, and it's an overview of Jeremiah where the Bible Project just takes us through and helps us understand what is Jeremiah, because it's a lot to take in. And so even if you just start with there, go to the Bible Project, get a little cup of coffee. I don't even know what to say. Just take some time, go through the Bible Project, and just journey with us in this Jeremiah. And so thank you all for being here. Be the love and the light of Jesus. Have a great week.
Let me tell you, oh my friends, about this joy I'm living in. Let me take the mic, go on and testify how I was dead and then I came to life. No more living in the dark of night. Now everything's alright. I've been changed. me take the mic, I wanna testify how I was dead and then I came to life. No more living in the dark of night. Now everything's alright. I've been changed.